All right, Alice Shattuck, Burn Barrel podcast listeners, friends.
That's now right in front of you in the camera.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
So
I'm going to change it in a second. I just had to do that because I had to grab this right here from Tim and Canton, Sullivan's on Castle Island. Thank you for the T-shirt, Tim. I have not tried to wear it because it's a double XL and I've been hurt before. But, Tim, no need to worry. Alice and I are officially on day one of Awaken 180, which is the thing when they grab all the radio blimps and make them eat certain foods. So hopefully in the near future, you know what this
We've been following it very precisely. I've been chopping vegetables and weighing them on a kitchen scale and stuff.
We are eating like LA elites. So, but you know what, Alice? You know what this means?
What does it mean?
We've gotten rid of food and booze. Now this is, albeit temporary, but it's some months anyway. We've gotten rid of bad food and bad booze. Mm-hmm. I am now viceless.
Oh, no.
I have no vices now. Seriously.
I think you still have vices.
No, I don't. That's it. That's it. All there is booze, drugs, which I don't have, food, which I do have, but not anymore. Mm-hmm. Womanizing, which I don't have yet.
Stop it. You have me, though.
Right. No, this else.
But we hook up.
Oh, please. That's a freebie. You're the free bingo space. That doesn't count.
Okay.
But here's the thing, is that now I am godlike.
That's not true.
This is what being flawless is.
That's not, you're not flawless.
Yes, I am. I don't have any of the bad things anymore, Alice. Think about it. Think about the 7 deadly sins.
Mm-hmm. Pride.
Well, you mean like as in gay pride? I don't have that. I'm straight.
Go
ahead.
So do you have humility, which is the opposite of pride?
Yes. I know I'm wretched, Alice. I'm very upfront about it.
I would say that you still have some places where you could do some more.
No, that's not true. I am complete.
Okay, there's, let's see, pride, greed, lust, gluttony.
What define lust? Gluttony I don't have anymore. That's gone. They took that away. Define lust.
I think we all know what it is, right?
Well, I mean, is that finding women hot? Well, I mean,
technically, I would say that use of pornography doesn't officially...
What? I don't use pornography. How dare you suggest that?
I'm just saying.
What are you... How dare you slander me like that? You will be hearing from my lawyer, ma'am.
Okay.
Pornography. Stop that. It's the family show. Bringing us down to the depths.
Well, you asked me to define lust, how it could possibly... Well, you asked me to define it.
I wasn't the one in the gig economy in 2011, coked out of my gourd, doing whatever.
That's not true at all.
To get by. Paid for college outright. Oh, no,
that's not accurate. Mm-hmm. That's not accurate.
I have no more flaws, Alice. All right. So
I wish you wouldn't say things like that about me.
Like what?
Because, like any of that. Because what if people see that and think that it's true?
Well, how cool would that be?
That would be
Wouldn't
terrible.
That be great?
That would be terrible. I don't like the idea that people would think that that's true about me.
For me, it works totally into a fantasy situation.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
That checks the box for lust too.
Yeah, but you're the object of the lust. That's allowed.
Yeah, but an imaginary situation that's not really me.
It stars you.
No, but that's not actually me though. That's an imaginary me.
What?
You're dehumanizing me.
What do you mean? You remain a human in these imagined fantasies?
No, I remain a fantasy in your head, not a human. A human is another person.
Oh, talk about you can't win.
A human is another person.
So wait a second. So I can't
with actual
hold on.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't fantasize about my own wife. Somehow that's a foul. You can't.
Not certain.
Can I remember
about
fondly?
Me.
I can't.
Not certain. You can't imagine me in situations that I find offensive.
You prove. What a pain. God, really? You're an interesting cat.
I don't want you to imagine me in ways that I don't want to be imagined.
No, I am. I'm imagining you in all the ways I want to imagine you. There's nothing you can do about it.
What if I imagine you in offensive ways?
Whatever you need to do to cope with the truth, please make any alterations, Alice. I beg of you.
No, I like the real you.
No, don't like the real me.
That's what love is.
Ugh, no. That's why you messed up. You messed up. On husband number 2, you'll see the error of your ways on husband number 1. Okay, so...
Well, hopefully husband number 2 will be an actual person, not just a figment of my imagination.
Yes, it will be a real person.
No.
Don't worry about that. You'll be the alpha, and you'll call the shots, and you'll be okay. Okay, so can you please step on me some more? So
Not a figment of your imagination either.
All right.
I don't want to date this imaginary husband that you've cooked up for me.
So where do we want to start? Real stuff?
Sure. Start wherever you want.
Okay. Oh no, we already did that last night. We did Blumenthal last night and Lindsey Graham last night. It was a call churner today because of the IRS stuff. Mm-hmm. And it is interesting. There is a really good piece in the National Review that talks about this. What the IRS is doing here. Mm-hmm. And so, let me read this. It goes like this. So, those who know how the IRS operates can guess what the plan is. And this is written by... Since I don't pay for National Review, I get 1,000 pop-ups, so I get this is pay, which I should. If we could make some money, I'll buy it. By Joseph Bishop Henchman. Those who know how the IRS operates can guess what the plan is, since the IRS does it now. IRS officials collect mountains of data from employers, contractors, and financial institutions and feed them into the IRS computer. Any discrepancy automatically generates a letter sent to taxpayers. Tens of millions a year. I've worked with many taxpayers who have received such letters, with the ominous IRS logo in the top left corner. The letter states that the IRS has identified a discrepancy and concluded that you are guilty. You can either pay immediately or send in your explanation proving your innocence. Most pay. This is how the IRS expects to magically turn $80 billion into $203 billion. The primary goal of IRS management is to feed more data into the computer to send more automated letters to frighten payments from the taxpayers, guilty or not. IRS officials actually expect to be more successful. The Biden administration originally predicted a fantastic windfall of $700 billion from the $80 billion in funding. The Congressional Budget Office knocked this number down as unrealistic, but administration supporters are still saying more money is out there if we just take the leash off the IRS.
Yeah. What's especially annoying, too, is that because they feed all this data, they know like 99% of what's going on already. Like, they could literally just send you a tax bill for almost all people. This is probably what I would have told your CPA callers today who were taking issue with you, is that really what the IRS should do is put all of them out of work and their fake little cottage industry that's entirely rent seeking. It's entirely just like, it's a protection racket. They have lobbyists that pay to keep the stupid tax code this way and this hard.
Who does?
Like all these H&R Block and TurboTax
yes.
and like, because they have a whole industry built up on helping people do their taxes because it's too hard for people to do on their own. But the IRS collects all this data. They could just send everybody a stupid bill. And then if you disagreed or had a problem, thought something wasn't accurate, you could write back, but they have a whole lobbying thing where they choose to do this, waste everybody's time and money on this stupid industry and force people to pay so that the government doesn't come after them, which half the time they do anyway. Why don't we just start things off by the IRS telling us what they think we owe?
Right.
And then if we have a problem with it, we'll file whatever we need to show that we think it's inaccurate. But I mean, like, instead, now I have to pay like TurboTax or one of these things or whatever. Like, I know there's free file things, but you better be darn sure you know the tax code inside and out. And like, who has time to go? I mean, like, I know some people who do make it a point to do their taxes on their own because they like feel that it's ridiculous that they have to pay for these services or for a CPA or whatever to do it. But like, I'm sure you're missing money on like write-offs and stuff you can do, because all the TurboTax things have like little things that pop up to remind you, check for this, look for that. Did you pay anything like this? Blah, blah, blah. You know, so it doesn't have to be this way. It absolutely doesn't. It like, you could just return a form saying you agree and get your money back. Look, it's so stupid. It's so stupid. And I don't know. I hate the whole industry. I hate the whole just like extortionist feel of the whole thing. And it's something that like makes me so angry. So
no, it's absolute bullying. It's tyrannical and it's bullying.
And now they're just getting like more agents to do more of what? And like, meanwhile, Congress is going to keep passing dumb, complicated tax laws. Every time they quote, close a tax loophole, it's changing something that they deliberately made that way on purpose for some other reason at some other time because it seemed like a good idea. I hate Congress. This is just going to make me mad today.
Yeah. Well, and also, look, once again, this is what the Democrats are selling for November. This is the Inflation Reduction Act, is to have IRS people come after you.
They better hope Putin reverses his price hike. Because
I mean, this is asking for trouble. The Democrats, to me, this bill is suicidal. I mean, for Democrats, this bill is just absolutely horrific, and I think. New inflation numbers come out in a couple days, right? Don't they come out Thursday?
I forget when they'd come out, but yeah, we'll keep an eye out for it. But
I mean, whatever. It ain't good out there, and this is just terrible. And the session's over. Everybody's going home, so this is like everybody's going home to run for their offices. At this point, there's zero time. So I mean, but I mean, these people are. It's disgusting, and that between that and then just accusing big companies of doing this and that and this and that and like
right.
And the corporate and by the way, they got themselves their Cinema got her hedge fund right off in there.
Well, they needed her to pass it.
Right. So now the hedge funds like Alden Capital and other random hedge funds, got their prize, which is just it's fine. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Hedge funds are necessary. So also, this is in the Wall Street Journal. Democrats who passed the Schumer Manchin bill on Sunday voted to raise drug costs and health premiums for 220 million privately insured Americans. That isn't hyperbole. It's the inevitable economic result of Medicare drug price controls after the Senate parliamentarian this weekend struck the bill's inflation rebates. Democrats know their Medicare take-it-or-leave-it drug negotiations, i.e. price controls, could have spillover effects on the commercial market. This was one argument they made to the Senate parliamentarian for keeping the bill's requirement that drug makers pay Medicare rebates if they raise prices on the commercial market higher than inflation. If drug makers must give Medicare steep discounts on certain drugs, they will compensate by increasing prices in the commercial market. As Connecticut Senator Chris Murphy told Political, you can't untangle the private sector from the public sector. One doesn't work with the other. This is what happened in healthcare more broadly. Medicare has long paid hospitals and physicians below the cost of treating patients. To compensate, hospitals and physicians charge private insurance plans more, like our insurance. Private insurers, on average, pay about twice as much as Medicare for hospital services and 43% more to physicians. The bill's inflation rebates would have effectively fixed drug prices for privately insured Americans and were more punitive for drug makers than the Medicare controls because they applied to nearly all brand prescription and provider-administered drugs and 4 times as many patients. The Medicare controls will cover 60 drugs by the end of the decade. The CBO estimates the rebates would raise $62 billion over the decade. That's not chump change, yet the Senate parliamentarian ruled that rebates violated budget reconciliation rules, which prohibit measures whose policy impact dwarfs their budgetary impact. So it just makes sense. So there's no escape, there's no valve there for relief for these drug companies. So they are going to have to make this money up by raising prices.
Right.
So so this bill that's
But didn't the Republicans vote to not overrule the parliamentarians' thing about it? Like, if they got 60 votes, wouldn't they have been able to put it on the private insurers too?
Maybe that was the Republicans trying to kill the bill. Is that what that was?
Yeah, and I mean, I think they think the price fixing is wrong in general too. That you'll have, like what Lindsey Graham said, that you'll have fewer new drugs, right? If you totally force them to lower prices on everybody.
This will mean, this is a Wall Street Journal editorial, this will mean higher premiums and drug costs for privately insured Americans. How is this supposed to reduce inflation? Another result will be higher employer health costs and thus lower worker take-home pay. Nice going, Democrats. It's a nice editorial, too. But there's only one more paragraph. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer played down the parliamentarians' ruling, and perhaps he thinks the party may even benefit politically. Now, if drug makers raise prices to offset the hit they take from Medicare price controls, Democrats will have a new pretext to mount another raid on the industry.
Exactly.
Which is probably what the next move is, because they'd never, of course, take accountability for anything.
No, I mean, it's never what we did. All the industries with the biggest problems and where companies do make the most money are all like hyper regulated industries, right? Like things like colleges or hospitals or whatever. They have to follow so many rules and regulations, and that's why these big businesses are the only ones who can keep up with all the government rules, and so they end up being a monopoly and being able to do whatever they want. It's so anti-competitive. Whatever. Once again, I hate Congress. They suck. They're terrible. Everything they do makes things worse. Like, I don't understand. I mean, I guess to some people maybe, because the narrative on the left right now is that they're trying to say, like, this is good for Biden. Like, this makes him look better. Like, he's getting things done. He got the bill passed.
Right. Well, that's what they're saying. They're saying Washington's working again.
Right.
And sure, it's working.
But that's bad for us.
Yes, all of these line items are terrible for Democrats and Republicans.
Right. It's terrible. So they're trying to make this thing happen now. Like, there had been for a while these like dark MAGA memes where like people were saying it was like the dark side of like the Trump America First whatever. It was silly, like idiotic 4chan trolling stuff. But then anyway, so now whatever young people work in the Biden administration and think they're so smart and that they can fix this presidency if they do really cool things on the internet, they have decided to try and make Dark Brandon happen, like to co-opt the Let's Go Brandon thing and like post these memes of like, you know, Biden looking like Palpatine or with like laser eyes or lightning or flashing around him, including one that somebody put out that had like lightning around him the same day that like 3 people died in a lightning strike right outside the White House, which I think is somewhat in poor taste. Another
roll
one
the
of them,
dice. I mean, who thinks a lightning strike's gonna?
Yeah, another one, like Jack Posobiec was tweeting, like another one of them had posted a meme that accidentally reused something from 4chan that had like some Nazi
like SS lightning or something,
in it or something.
Yes, that's right.
So they're bad at this, basically. Even when it seems like they think they've found something, that they're onto something, they're just terrible at all of this, you know. And then we have Karine Jean-Pierre, who's supposed to be like the serious side of the communications shop here, tweeting out stuff about how much the president's lowered gas prices after telling us for months that he had zero control over gas prices. She's turned around and said he's now lowered the gas prices for us. Isn't he so brilliant and amazing? To like still like more than double what they were before he was president, which is so unhelpful to us. Like, if you want to take credit for the $4 gas, be my guest. I don't think it's going to be as good as you think it's going to be. But I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know if the massively bad and terrible consequences of this bill are going to necessarily be obvious by November is the only problem here. So I think they're just hoping that they like have something to run on now that they did all these wonderful things that they're touting, that they can go home to their districts and say, look what I did. Isn't this great? And then they can. So this just passed the Senate, right? It didn't pass the House yet. The House is going to have to vote on it.
Just seeing this video of Biden at the helicopter. Oh my God.
Yes. Yes, he was outside Marine One today. Props to the Marines for keeping a straight face, by the way, during all this, as Biden is unable to put on his jacket and is like flailing around and Jill has to help him and then his glasses fall off. It's really like tragic. And well, it is humorous because it's like a Mr. Bean sketch of him like not even it's also extremely sad and terrifying because number one, he's the commander-in-chief of the armed forces and the president of the United States, which is a pretty powerful position, and he's obviously not quite running. His brain is not running as it should be, and also he's a poor old man who should be allowed to go home and live out
After the
a
midterms,
happy,
I
not
think.
well-deserved retirement.
After in November, I think we'll find out. I think he'll say he's finito.
You think they're gonna still try and stretch it till after like January 20th so that Kamala can get a full 2? I mean, they can't possibly imagine.
Sunday shows were saying that his time was after that Great Jobs report would have been the time. Say, all right, there you go.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I can't think that anybody in the administration still thinks there's a chance Kamala could win 2 national elections. Like, so why bother having her serve less than half a term?
Says that he doesn't run. He'll finish out his term.
You think
he'll intend to finish out his term? I think is the situation. But I think that the Democrats need to start running. So I mean, Gavin Newsom and Beto O'Rourke, or Beto's running for governor, but Gavin Newsom.
Well, he won't be after November anymore.
Right.
He'll be
my friend
back
on
out
Twitter,
of
Kevin from Pundit Review, says last time it was hotter for longer in Boston. Guess what? Guess when, Alice?
Last year? I don't know.
1911.
Oh wow!
That's
so global warming's real.
That's right.
Is
It's
that
absolutely real. It's absolutely real, and it's coming for us.
The only problem is it's not raining. So.
Oh, by the way, I need to have a moment here to talk to my friends. My fellow Gen X men, Alice.
Okay.
Who these people, not me, but other people that you hear in the chat, and who like Tim and Canton, for instance, do have lust in their heart. We want to say R.I.P. to Olivia Newton-John. Well, hold on.
Really sad.
This is me and the guys right now.
Oh, sorry.
Should
I take my headphones off?
This was an important influence for Generation X men. Kids at the time. This was an important influence. And the transformation of Olivia Newton-John in The End of Grease was a line of demarcation for 2 different thought cultures out there. There was the pre-last scene Olivia, the sweet and nice one, Sandy, or the spandex-clad Sandy at the end. Most people who live lives without sin, like myself, would say that we prefer the sweet Sandy. But yes, my men and I all we all acknowledge that she is a notable figure in our young lives. Had a nice long life, not that long, 73, but. Yeah.
It is sad. She's totally iconic and awesome.
I mean, what's better than a really cute Australian? I mean, or the men, too. You can have the men, too. Alice, maybe your next husband will be an Australian man. Grab one of those, the guy from Vacation 6 or whatever, showing the remote. What's that? Travis, what's his name? Stone. Remember the scene?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you should say...
I'm more like a Hugh Jackman person, I think. If I'm doing Australian.
I would be honored if you moved on to...
Russell Crowe is also good looking.
Russell... Really? Well, you do like him fat.
What?
Nothing. He's so fat now, but that's cool. Which brings us, Alice, to we've got a problem here. You know how I was on Fandango all last weekend trying to get tickets for Batgirl.
I know.
Which was going to have Michael Keaton.
Do like a short appearance, I guess.
Do a short appearance.
I don't think he was going to do that much.
That's right. And I was all excited because I love the franchise, everything that's off the franchise of Batman. Mm-hmm. I call it what do I call it again? The DCEU, I think.
I guess so.
I call
Extended Universe. That sounds
expanded
right.
or universe. That's right. I'm a huge DCEU fan, so I love all of those
Okay.
things, those superheroes things, and they never get to me. They're each one is more original than the next. But so it's been canceled, and now they are reporting Vanity Fair reports, Variety reports that we've got a problem. How Batgirl acting and James Franco's Castro casting highlight Hollywood's persistent erasure of Latinos, which is, I agree as well. It wasn't a great week for Latinos in Hollywood, but I'm sure many of you knew already. Let me tell you, between the Warner Brothers axing the release of Batgirl starring Leslie Grace, HBO Max canceling the coming-of-age comedy series The Gordita Chronicles, and
Who doesn't love the Gordita Chronicles?
That's right. And James Franco being cast as Cuban dictator Fidel Castro, Latinos are being mercilessly discarded and overlooked. Tell me something. How's the cast of The Gordita Chronicles doing? How is what's her name? Leslie Grace doing? Have they been just mercilessly discarded, or are they filthy rich and in Hollywood?
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure she still gets paid for making the movie, even though they axe it. I mean, not like bonuses based on how well it does and stuff, but she wouldn't have got those anyway if what the audiences from the test screening told them are any indication. Because apparently what happened is that they test screened it to a few people and said, like, we can't even put this out based on what they're telling us right now.
Right.
You know this thing is going to end up getting released here somehow. Because the woke idiots are going to complain about it. In this article that I had sent you about this, one of the people quoted, I can't remember if it says it in the actual article or if I click through to the tweet thread about it, but they were saying, like, we knew the movie wasn't going to be the next Citizen Kane, but we just want representation. It's okay to be, like, they're going to complain and pressure the studio with their woke nonsense until they put it out on HBO Max or something, which is where it was, like, destined to go anyway, I think. So they're going to get this apparently atrocity of a movie put out.
I hope they do.
I hope they do too. It's going to be just like, you know what it's going to be like? It's a historic first. It's the historic first Afro-Latina DCEU superhero movie.
That's right. And nobody will see it. And it'll win an Oscar.
And just like the historic first black lesbian immigrant woman press secretary, it's going to not be a credit to historic firsts at all and do damage to the concept of historic firsts and undermine the ability of studios to hire people like that again, because it's going to do so terribly and they're going to want to shy away from the whole thing, the whole controversy, the whole mess of it, and just make normal movies that people want to watch.
Right. And so she goes on to say, and when we thought it couldn't get any more ridiculous, a headline that reads like an Onion article emerges: James Franco to play Cuban revolutionary Fidel Castro in indie film Alina of Cuba. One, does that read like an Onion article?
Not at all.
Two, the size and eye rolling were significant. Sexual misconduct allegations and recent settlements aside, still believe cancer culture exists. I found myself Googling Franco's ethnic roots. Nothing creepy and racist about that at all.
I just need to find out your full genetic composition before I form an opinion about what I feel about you being in this movie.
I found myself Googling Franco's ethnic roots to see if I may have missed if the Portuguese, Swedish, Russian actor had newfound Latino roots. He does not.
Wait, isn't Portuguese like a type of sort of Latin? Isn't that?
I would think so. I think that counts as something.
I would think it would.
Right.
But, okay, I don't know how all the definitions work now, so, okay.
Well, he's not. But
Castro looked like...
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
Weren't we told that some Hispanics are white?
Before you go any further, was the thing about Castro that he was a Latino? Was that the main thing? Okay, word association. Fidel Castro, Latino. Is that it?
Yeah, some people would have gone with murderous Cuban dictator.
Exactly. Exactly. Why not let the white guy play him, by the way? You pay for the chump. We'll have somebody cool play Desi Arnaz.
I mean, that was also a problem they complained about in there, because Javier Bardem played Desi Arnaz.
Oh, no, God. You're
or whatever.
serious?
I think so.
Oh, my
they
goodness.
had some problem with that, too. Whatever. It's so ridiculous. And what's made more ridiculous is I just sent you in our show prep chat that link to the Marilyn Monroe movie trailer, where Ana de Armas is playing Marilyn Monroe in this new like artsy movie about Marilyn Monroe.
We've played this on this air, haven't we?
I don't think we did this on this show. I think you did it on your radio show, maybe.
Really? We never did it here?
I don't think we did it on our show. I think you did it on your show. But I don't know. Can you just, because I just want to draw a quick contrast between how that is treated by Hollywood. Marilyn Monroe, who I believe was not Hispanic at all, or Latino, or
Correct.
Spanish speaking in any way, shape, or form. And they have this young woman who seems very talented playing her.
What's her name?
Ana de Armas.
No.
And
A-N-A?
A-N-A space D-E space A-R-M-A-S. I just sent you the link to the trailer, though.
But I have the MP3 somewhere. It's called Blonde, right?
Yeah, the movie's called Blonde.
Here we go. This trailer really bothers me. It's really a awkward. It's how trailers are now. They're really awkward and spooky. It's gonna play in a second. Yeah.
I think the movie is meant to be like super edgy too about Marilyn, like. But really, yeah.
Miss Monroe, it's time.
A kiss on the hand.
How'd you get your start?
Maybe
What start?
In movies.
quite continental. But diamonds are a girl's best friend.
I guess I was discovered.
Okay, that's enough. But like, I mean, that's fine if you want to make a movie in which your actress playing Marilyn Monroe she's Cuban, I guess, this actress that has a pronounced Spanish accent. Like, nobody would care except for the fact that you guys whine constantly that you're not represented in Hollywood and that white people are taking your roles and that people should just play people of their own race, color, creed, whatever, sexuality, gender. There's no leeway for any of that in the other direction, but somehow like Marilyn Monroe can be played by, I mean, I'm surprised they didn't have like Viola Davis playing her, to be honest with you, because it's so like blatant and in your face, the whole thing. Like, it's ridiculous.
But also they have her looking like Marilyn Monroe. So if Viola Davis played Marilyn Monroe, but as Viola Davis in her own style, etc., then so you're trying to do an adaptation. This is not an adaptation. They've got this lady, Anna, whatever, all dolled up like Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
Who's doing her best to speak like Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, because she's doing like the wispy
but she
voice
can't
thing.
act. So she can't get rid of the accent. So they obviously it was an attempt because they have her looking like her. She couldn't deliver and get rid of the accent. Marilyn Monroe didn't. So now
I feel like they could hire a coach or
so
something.
they did. They didn't pan out. So not only now do we don't allow actors to act. It's not about acting. You have to. The identity has to be the character. So we've taken the actors out of assuming the role of characters, like
Right.
they want to take James Franco out of being the Castro. But now we've taken the acting out of acting. So now, like, this person playing Marilyn Monroe, who they're dressed like Marilyn Monroe, is falling short now. But it's so important that a Latina play her that it doesn't matter. But this is not good.
Disney also has a Latina playing Snow White, which again is fine, and she can look like her, but then don't come complaining to me when James Franco plays Castro, who also, I mean, like, we've all been explained to in a annoying way many times that Latino is an or Hispanic is an ethnicity and not a race, and that you can have like Afro-Latino people, and like when George Zimmerman killed Trayvon Martin, that he was a white Hispanic. Remember that? Which was a phrase that had never appeared in the news before until that day. But you know, he was then a white Hispanic, so it was okay. But like, is Castro not a white Hispanic if we're gonna start using that designation for people?
I would have thought he was,
because he seems kind of like, I mean, I could totally see James Franco playing him and looking like him.
Sure.
I don't get what the problem is here. I think we should just let people be in movies and let studios make movies. By the way, maybe the Maryland movie will be good. Who knows?
That was an excellent catch on the James Franco-Cuban thing.
What do you mean?
That he's Portuguese.
Portuguese? Yeah. I would think that that's like kind of close to Spanish, so I don't really see the problem. But I guess that's like conquistador blood or something. But like half the people in all of like everybody in South America has a bunch of conquistador blood. Like it's all mixed now, you know. But why are we doing like a genetic test anyway for people to play parts in movies? If the director and the studio want to make the movie with this person the way that they look playing the role of whoever they're trying to depict, then why shouldn't they just do it? You know, why? I don't... This whole, like...
One of the respondents says, Castro was of European descent. Maybe I'll let you do a Substack on this.
Okay.
Castro was of European descent, a white Cuban as they are called, from the Iberian Peninsula. Portugal is part of that peninsula. Franco is part Portuguese. Moreover, even looks like Castro.
He does kind of look like Castro. Like, I mean...
Sorry, but Fidel Castro wasn't ethnically Latino. Sorry, but Fidel Castro...
But a bunch of big-name people complained about this, including... I'm going to mangle saying his name.
Leguizamo?
Leguizamo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I always kind of liked him, but he's really bitchy about the racist stuff. He's just like he's really into it. That's his. You know, a lot of people have really great and charmed lives and have had a chance now to claim victimhood retroactively, even though they're multimillionaires and will never have to. You know, it's the moment you get paid, you know, $100,000 to post something on Instagram, you
lose credibility to claim victimhood.
Exactly.
You can't do it. It's not allowed anymore. Speaking of which, this really isn't actually that related, so it's a bad transition, so I'm sorry about that. It's not a good segue at all, but one more...
Well, you've barely drawn attention to it, Alice. That's fine.
My professionalism really showing through right now. So the big story in the Boston Globe right now, did you see this?
Yes. I thought it had already been adjudicated, actually. But.
Oh, yeah. So this did happen a while ago, but they just did a big piece on it. Where in Massachusetts now we have to get a new state flag because our state flag depicts a Native American and there's like a little hand with a sword above it. It's the state seal. It's a stupid flag. A better reason to get rid of it would be that it's a stupid looking flag and nobody knows what it is, or like...
Nothing should be gotten rid of within 5 years before or after George Floyd. Nonsense.
I mean, sure. Yeah, but the bad reason to get rid of it is that it depicts a Native American, which is apparently re-traumatizing First Peoples all over the state every time they have to see it. So in May, a special commission voted to recommend replacing the state's seal and motto, and by extension, the Massachusetts state flag, a dramatic turning point for a symbol whose roots date back to 1629 and the chartering of the Massachusetts Bay Colony. Some might struggle to recall the emblem, which includes a Native American figure standing below a broadsword brandished by an upraised arm. But activists and members of the state's indigenous population have long objected to the image. One critic called the image the last state flag of white supremacy. We've always referred to it as a sword of Damocles, said Cheryl Andrews.
Wow, that is deep.
Chairwoman of the Wampanoag tribe of Gay Head, Aquina. These are generational fights. It is a long time coming, said Andrews Maltese, a member of the Special Commission on the official seal and motto of the Commonwealth. But the Volunteer Commission's unanimous vote masks sharp divisions, as some members worry the recommendation constitutes historical myopia. This is the flag that crushed the Confederacy, and now to say that it's a racist symbol, I'm not buying it, said retired Brigadier General Leonid Kondatyuk. 17,000 Massachusetts soldiers died fighting under that flag. Meanwhile, John Peters Jr., executive director of the state's Commission on Indian Affairs, says he quickly regretted his vote. I was kicking myself, said Peters. When I look at the flag, it's like a true depiction of what happened to the native people here.
Oh,
he
man.
Continued.
Oh, we're in a weird woke battle royale.
They can't figure out which is the more woke option, to get rid of the Indian or to keep the Indian. Designed by illustrator Edmund Garrett, and the current seal draws on the original seal of Massachusetts-based colony. So it's supposed to be the broadsword is supposed to be the American.
It is remarkable how good progressives in 2022 know so much more about the realities on the ground of 1630 than the people in 1630 did. It's so interesting how enlightened we are now, and then we were just morons. Everybody now, all these great progressives, they would have been just simply extremely benevolent to each other and ceded land over to each other and said, you know what, it's okay. You can have this area where all the deer are. I'll starve this winter.
And get this. On the figure, the designer added a belt based on one said to have belonged to Metacom, the Wampanoag leader who fought colonists during King Philip's War, a bloody conflict of the 1670s. So, Metacom, also known as King Philip, was beheaded after his death by colonists.
Well,
Missing any other context here?
Yeah. He was a savage murderer. He was the Osama bin Laden of the King Philip's War. And they very much like 9/11 surprise attacks on women, children,
whole villages were burned away. I mean, if I were a Native American, I would think who was mad about colonists being on my land, I'd probably like having Metacom on the state flag.
Yeah,
but
so he's on it now?
It's, well, the figure is sort of standardized, but the belt they drew on him is based on the actual belt of the actual Metacom.
On the one that we have now?
On the current flag, yes.
That bastard. I want that one gone. I'm with him. I'm with...
You want it gone now because you don't want somebody who committed atrocities against Shaddocks all across the state.
GD, right.
To
I
be
want
on
to
our
go
state
testify.
flag.
I'm testifying.
If you do that, they'll definitely keep it.
I'm going to testify. I am victimized by this. This is violence towards me.
So, yeah, Native Americans have found the image offensive for years, but it gained momentum in the summer of 2020 following the murder of George Floyd.
Really? I'm shocked about that.
Toppled
All right, let's just do a couple of... we only have a couple messages anywhere for the chat. Are you ready?
Let's go.
TS, I could not disagree with you more about the Alex Stein latest at CPAC. I mean, think about it. What if you showed up at Awaken 180 and they said, nah, you're not one of us? Just saying.
Ouch. Vicious. Tim in Canton. Speaking of surprise attack, Tim in Canton, the Osama bin Laden of this...
Wait, I'm confused, though. He said he disagreed, but he thought... But he was saying, what if you showed up at Awaken 180 and they said you're not one of us? So does that mean that he's agreeing with you or with me? Because I'm the one who said they shouldn't invite in reporters who hate them.
I don't know, Alice. I mean, I don't know. He went on a charm offensive with the T-shirt and then viciously attacked me. Maybe mistakenly. Maybe
I thought maybe it sounds to me more like he's attacking my position than yours because you thought Alex Stein was mean and terrible.
Correct. I'm going to move on to the next one, okay?
Okay. I just like to add a little color.
Is that what that was? Well, technically, I believe his parallel may have been flawed, and I'll show you why. Just come to the whiteboard.
Hey, Tom.
Hey.
Just wanted to say have fun at Fat Camp.
Thank you.
Looking forward to the shows where hangry, calorie-deficient Tom is just miserable during the broadcast. Also, don't become like an Al Sharpton or an Al Roker where you just turn into this spindly little sickly body trying to support this giant Easter Island head. You might as well be fat, happy, and unhealthy than skinny, unhappy, and healthy.
Easter
Take
Island.
care.
He is right about that, man. Sharpton looks like hell. He had it going on in about 1988. He was fat as hell. He was a good 375. He had the tracksuits, beautiful big hair. That was it. Who's the other person he said?
Roker.
Oh, Roker. Oh, yeah. I don't like that either. Get fat, Roker. You'll always be fat Actually, it's funny. Roker's been thin now for such a long time that the last time I lost like 100 pounds, which is like in 2002 or right around there, just a lot of weight, where I went from fat to. My friend Mike called me Roker constantly. So this is very difficult for me. You look like Roker. I'm not Roker, I'll have you know. But yes, we're gonna see. We're gonna do this for a little bit and see what happens. You know, what's the worst, right?
I'm excited.
When is dinner, and what can we have?
We're having it right now. You can have 8 ounces of a meat.
And each.
And 2 cups of vegetables.
All right. How much is 8 ounces?
It's like 2 quarter-pounder hamburger patties.
I can work with that. It's a good start.
I have my kitchen scale ready to go. I'm going to weigh whatever you make sure that you don't go overboard. I have several approved sauces that you can measure a certain number of tablespoons of to have healthy fats in your diet, and 2 cups of vegetables. So you're going to be very pleased.
Ooh.
Anyway, if you want to leave chat messages, you can do that at burnbarrelpodcast.com. There's a red button there you can use. You can also write us burnbarrelpodcast@gmail.com.
Easter Island Alice.